addition to having to do all of that stuff that I don't have to think about doing. Because I'll be honest with you, if I had to think about breathing and telling my heart to beat, I'll be out within a couple of seconds, okay? Because I can barely remember something from here to the door. So I know trying to tell me to remember to tell my heart to beat, I will be in trouble, okay? So now, I've got to think about the brain and how it helps me do what's termed higher order thinking. My ability to reason, my ability to create memory, my ability to have emotion, my ability to be conscious. I know, right? Okay? So in addition to keeping me alive, making sure all that other stuff's going on, I gotta now have this system give me the ability to go everything can be higher order. That's a lot for a system. So, what makes it up? We have our brain, our spinal cord, our nerves, and then sensory receptors. So when we think about the parts of this system, brain, spinal cord, nerves that exit out, okay? And they don't just stop right there. I really don't like how it just kind of cuts off right there. The nerves actually branch out and come around, go down, that sort of thing, okay? And then my sensory receptors. General touch, meaning stuff like Meissner corpuscle, Mycinian corpuscle, free nerve endings. But if I think special senses, okay, nerves are going to be a little bit different. But that'll come in part 2. We divide the nervous system into what is called the central nervous system, which is strictly the brain and the spinal cord, and then my peripheral nervous system. The peripheral nervous system is going to be every nerve and the way that it extends out of the vertebra of the back. Does that make sense? Because when you look at the 2 divisions, my 2 divisions. The central is my brain and my spinal cord. Anything, see how it shows them a little bit longer? These little fibers, okay? Anything that exits the vertebra is my peripheral. Because this is going to be a nerve that travels to somewhere on the periphery of my body. Make sense? All right, so brain, spinal cord, nerves, receptors. Central, peripheral. That is pretty much what we're looking at for this system. Complicated, to say the least. All right, there is absolutely absolutely nothing simple about this system. Doctors who choose to study this system, especially the ones who study the brain, they should get every penny they talk. All right? I mean, think about it. Do you want somebody cutting the top of your head off, rooting around in there with a stick and not know what they're doing? No, I don't. Okay? Much less somebody cutting on my back, not knowing what they're doing. So if we begin to look at these divisions, the peripheral nervous system, everything that is exiting the vertebra and traveling to all these different areas of my body. Like I said, receptors, they can be nerve endings, they could be specialized cells, such as a Meissner's corpuscle, Tinian corpuscle. They're detecting everything that we've mentioned. Temperature, pain, touch, pressure, light, sound, odor, all this stuff. Now, the definition of a nerve. What is it? One of the things about this system, let's think about this for a second. If the receptor is in the periphery of my body, which end of a nerve, for example, would that be? Would that be the dendritic end or that little terminal bud, the little ending end? If I have the periphery of my body, my arm, and I touch this desk, I'm feeling the pressure of this desk. I'm feeling the coolness of this desk. That information needs to travel to my spinal cord. For the nerve that it's going to take from the sensory information into the spinal cord, where is the head of that nerve? Here or in here?
Yeah.
Do what, Nicole?
Spinal cord.
I'm sorry, do what?
Is it sound like a hand?
Spinal cord.
My spinal cord. This would be the ending. I would have a huge axon. Information would travel into my spinal cord by way of these spinal nerves. Because I would have a spinal nerve that would be branching off, like they're trying to show right here, that would begin to travel all the way down. Is everybody following? But the head of that nerve is in my spinal cord. So if I look at this structure that I have, this tells me that within my brain and my spinal cord, lots of heads with their dendritic ends, and they have to, their axons have to exit. So a peripheral nerve, does everybody follow me? A peripheral nerve is the bundle of axons. So this nerve right here would be a bunch of axons coming from a bunch of the heads in the spinal cord. Yes, no, maybe. referring to the covering, which we're going to talk about. It will be what connects my central nervous system, my brain and my spinal cord, to their receptors.
Like a chain from the spinal cord down towards the...
For our autonomic nervous system, yes. For what we're going to be able to control, like our skeletal muscle and so forth, no. It simply exits, and as that nerve exits, it begins to branch and branch and branch until we have the entire body covered. So, when we talk about these nerves that exit my central system, the brain and the spinal cord, nerves that exit from the brain are going to be known as my cranial nerves. They are only right here. Everything else is going to rely on spinal nerves. What I see exiting on each side from the vertebra of my back. Yes, no, maybe.
Yes.
All right. Now, another term that we're going to get familiar with called a ganglion. This would be a collection of nerve cell bodies. So when you hear ganglion, let it automatically say a collection of nerve cell bodies. A plexus is an extensive network of axons. For example, I have the brachial plexus. I have my lumbar plexus. These are huge nerves. Look at how they're trying to represent how big these nerves are. And they are serving the upper, lower extremities, for example. I'm looking at my brachial plexus. I'm serving the upper extremities. Does that make sense? It's a huge network of the nerves. So our peripheral nervous system gets pretty interesting. And a lot of this information you're going to continue with in part 2. In the peripheral nervous system, because information has to go in, think about me touching the desk right here, and I felt the pressure of it, okay? Information traveled to my spinal cord. The spinal cord is an area that integration can occur. What was the job of integration? That? How to react. So, if I have my pressure, okay, that got pushed in, and my spinal cord says, relax it, that information had to come back out and make the muscles holding this in place relax. So, here's what happened by way of the spinal nerve. I was able to send sensory information in